Okay, welcome to the Judiciary Committee, everyone. My name is Carl Rhodes. I'm chair of the committee. This Zoom meeting and YouTube live stream event will include the following several agendas. 929 agenda for this is a deferred measure, SB 2008, a 930 decision-making agenda, a 945 decision-making agenda, a 10 o'clock actual hearing, and then I believe it'll be on a different link, but we will also have a 1025 joint decision-making with Ways and Means, and also a 1030 joint decision-making agenda with Ways and Means. The other members of the committee are Vice Chair Kyo Kalole, Senators Ocasio, Gabbard, Lee, Kim, and Favela. As noted, this hearing is being streamed live on YouTube. You can find links to viewing options for all Senate hearings and meetings on the live and on-demand video page of the legislature's website. If you're interested in seeing the written testimony, you can go to the legislature's website as well, capitol.hawaii.gov. If we have a major technical crash, we will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business. I guess we'll do it this afternoon at 1:01. And this is Thursday at 1:01 via video conference, and we'll try to post a public notice. Hopefully that won't happen. All right, let's go to the 929 agenda. This one is relating to highways. This is the lanes and roads in limbo issue that has dogged us for many years. Recommendation here is to pass with amendment. I'm sorry, this is SB 2008. Recommendation is to pass with several amendments. So I do have prior concurrence from the previous chairs. Thank you. So adopt language from the Hawaii Association for Justice to include privately owned roads where the owners are unknown to be included as scenic roads, which have fewer design requirements and no liability for not staying up to the regular standard of construction. We'll change it from has been condemned. We'll change it to has been condemned instead of deemed to have been dedicated under 246.1, 264.1. Yeah, I'm confused. I think it was 264. Anyway, 264.1.
264.1, Chair.
Yeah. And we'll leave the joint and several liability rule waiver in place, except for actions by the prior owner after the date of the condemnation. But we'll specify that this does not mean the county or state after condemnation are not liable for their own negligence. It only means that they're naming the lawsuit with the other parties. If the other party is found negligent too, then the state or the county will only have to pay their percentage of negligence. The normal rule is that if you lose a lawsuit, the winner of the lawsuit can come after you for the whole amount, and then you have to chase the other person if you want to be made whole. So this would make it so you're only responsible for your own liability. We'll affect the date July 30, 27, and in the committee report, we'll put in language about how we hope this bill will work, talking about the process through which the county or state would go to condemn a road that's in limbo. And also note that right now, the counties and the state, if they've worked on a highway or a road, they're possibly on the hook for liability anyway because they've paved or whatever they've done to the road or highway. So they're not necessarily off the hook. They're not necessarily off the hook even now. And then also, just to be clear, so the joint and several liability waiver will end at the time of condemnation. Any any liability after that by the previous lane owner and the state or the county, whoever condemns it, the joint and several liability rule would kick in again, because at that point the city or county or the state would be the one that owned the lane, and so it would be appropriate again to go. They could stop the then private party from doing something, and it would be appropriate for the joint and several liability rule to apply. Okay. Oh, and it's got a bad date, so it's all very confusing. It's an issue that's been with us forever and we've never been able to solve. So this is another attempt to do that, and I'd like to move it forward. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair for the vote.
Members voting on SB 2008, the recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair Rhodes.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Ocasio.
Aye.
Senator Gabbard.
Aye.
Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Lee.
Aye.
Senator Favela is excused. Chair recommendation adopted.
Okay, thank you. We'll gavel out of the 929 and we'll gavel into the 930 hearing. This is a decision-making only hearing as well. First up on the 930 agenda is SB 3085 relating to the Hawaii Code of Military Justice. It would replace the current military justice chapter with a new one. Recommendation here is to pass with a bad date, 7/30/2075, and technical amendments. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members, SB 3085 SD1 passing with amendments. With 6 members present, are there any noes or reservations? Seeing none, Senator Favela excused. Recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next up is SB 3089. This is relates to the emergency management chapter. It does a number of things, makes a number of amendments to the emergency management chapter. The recommendation here is to move it along with some amendments to have the prior chair's concurrence for. So we'll accept the DOD and HIEMA's amendments to eliminate the need for most supplementary proclamations for permits, authorizations, or approvals to allow for repair work to continue beyond the emergency period, and will broaden the severe weather warning definition to cover severe warnings by other entities. We'll accept Shopo's amendment to clarify that the government's authority to be the sole judge of an emergency is subject to the legislative termination of a state of emergency, and will insert language restricting the suspension of records requests. We'll also add a technical amendment. I'm sorry, and we'll add a So there is a provision in this bill that will allow the legislature to overrule a emergency proclamation with a 2/3 vote. And so we'll also add in a similar procedure for the councils, the county councils, to override a mayor's proclamation with a 2/3 vote. And I believe that's it. Any questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members voting on SB 3089 SD1, the recommendation is to pass with amendments. With 6 members of the committee present, members, are there any noes or reservations? Chair recommendation adopted.
Thank you, members. Next up is SB 3162. This relates to audible vehicle reverse warnings. This would require the replacement of current audible reverse warnings, the high-pitched backup beepers that we're all familiar with, on state and county-owned vehicles purchased on or after 1/1/2025 with more effective broadband reversing alarms, which aren't as obnoxious, but apparently work better for the purpose of protecting people from getting run over. Recommendation here is to pass with just technical amendments. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members voting on SB 3162 SD1, the recommendation is to pass with amendments. With 6 members present, are there any noes or reservations? Seeing none, recommendation adopted.
Thank you, members. Next up is SB 3165. This lengthens the driver's license revocation period for a first-time offender convicted of operating a vehicle under the influence of an intoxicant who does not install an ignition interlock system. Allows for early termination of driver's license revocation after 9 months upon showing 3 consecutive months of ignition interlock use without any violations. Recommendation here is to pass ahead with some amendments. I'd like to accept the judiciary's amendments for a motion for early termination of the section shall. It's fairly technical. It's how the termination will work in the judiciary, and then also like to accept the DOT amendments that puts in a definition of violation, and then we also have an amendment for purpose of consistency. We'd also recommend that if an acceptable test is performed within 10 minutes, add that to subsection 3. for uniformity with the preceding two subsections. And it does have a bad date already. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members, SB 3165 SD1 passing with amendments. With 6 members present, are there any reservations or no votes?
Reservations.
Reservations.
We have reservations for Senators Kim and Ocasio. All other members vote aye. Recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next up is SB 3206, requires the first responder to report in the incident report for each water rescue event the type of snorkel and mask, if any, that were worn by the person who was rescued or recovered. Recommendation here is to pass unamended. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Keokalole.
Members, SB 3206 passing unamended. With 6 members present, are there any reservations or no votes? Recommendation adopted.
Thank you, members. Next up is SB 3223. This imposes penalties on both the person and the firm upon a finding of repeat violations of state law governing wages and hours of employees on public works. Recommendation here is to pass as is. Questions or concerns? Not, Vice Chair.
SB 3223 SD1 passing unamended. With 6 members present, are there any reservations or no votes? Chair, recommendation adopted.
Thank you, members. Next up is SB 3372 relating to public procurement, authorizes where it is determined that a solicitation or award of a contract is a violation of law, government contract to be rescinded and awarded to the next lowest responsible bidder to whom the contract would have been awarded if it were not for the violation of law. Recommendation here is to pass unamended. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members, SB 3372 SD1 passing unamended. With 6 members present, are there any reservations or no votes? Recommendation adopted.
Thank you, members. Next up is SB 3344. This restricts the use of solitary confinement in state operated and state contracted correctional facilities with certain specified exceptions. Recommendation here is to go ahead and pass it unamended. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members, SB 3344 passing unamended. With 6 members present, are there any reservations or no votes? Recommendation adopted.
Okay, thank you. Next up is SB 3333. This authorizes any person to commence a civil action in district court on that person's own behalf against any owner of a dwelling unit if the owner advertises, solicits, offers, or provides the dwelling unit as a transient vacation unit, and the owner is not authorized by the applicable accountant to provide the unit as a transient vacation unit. There's some real controversy with this bill, understandably, but I would like to move it along. So recommendation is to pass with amendments. We'll put a defective date on it, and we'll amend in the sentence at the top of page 3 to read, well, something like, no action shall be commenced until 60 days after the potential plaintiff has given the owner notice of the alleged violation. So the new parts of the 60 days, which was blank, the potential plaintiff because they haven't sued anybody yet, and the alleged violation because it may not actually be accurate. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members voting on SB 3333 SD1, recommendation is to pass with amendments. I show 5 members. With 5 members present, are there any reservations or no votes? Seeing none, recommendation adopted.
Okay, thank you, members. Next up is SB 3323. This relates to attachment, increases the amount of interest in real property that is exempt from attachment and execution, and amends the value of personal property that is exempt from attachment and execution, including increasing exemption amount for a motor vehicle, exempts from attachment or execution amount equivalent to 1 month of child support and 1 month of spousal support. So this is if you get sued and they take your house, take your belongings, you get to keep a little bit of it, and it's been that way for years, for decades. But the dollar amounts have not been increased for a long time. So that's the purpose of the bill. Recommendation is to go ahead and pass with some amendments. Place a cap on the total child support and spousal support. That's the new part of it. If applicable, to the total amount of 1 month support or $5,000, whichever is lower. And that's it. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Kaloli.
Members voting on SB 3323 SD1, the recommendation is to pass with amendments. With 6 members present, are there any reservations or no votes? Chair, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next up is SB 3251. This requires that hunting guides obtain written permission from private landowners or other appropriate persons before taking their clients to hunt on those private lands. Recommendation here is to pass unamended. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members, SB 3251 SD1 passing unamended. With 6 members present, are there any reservations or no votes? Recommendation adopted.
Thank you, members. Next up and last is SB on this agenda is SB 2111, allows government agencies under certain circumstances to publish public notices on official website as an alternative to a newspaper of statewide circulation. Yes.
I see SB 3320 SD1 relating to federal pig control permits.
Skip one here. Hunting guides. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. Thank you for catching that. 33. Next up is SB 3320 relating to federal pig control permits. Codifies certain administrative rules of the Department of Natural Land and Natural Resources regarding permits to destroy or control harmful feral pigs. Recommendation on SB 3320 is to pass unamended. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Kaloli.
Members voting on SB 3320 SD1, the recommendation is to pass this measure unamended. With 6 members present, are there any noes or reservations? Recommendation adopted.
Thank you. And the one that I had started on inadvertently, SB 2111 is next. This allows government agencies under certain circumstances to publish public notices on an official website as an alternative to a newspaper of statewide or countywide circulation. This would save the state a lot of money, so I would like to move it on. But I do have some amendments to recommend. We'll accept DCAB's amendments to make all the postings accessible, and we'll accept the OIP technical amendments. We'll require a disclaimer in any post after January 1, 2023 through June 30, 2023 that agency may begin to post online after July 1, 2023. And keep in mind that this isn't posting online and will not be required. If the agency still feels the need to put it in the paper, there would still be allowed to do so. And that was one of the OIP techs, actually. Okay, questions or concerns on 2111? If not, Vice Chair for the vote.
Members voting on SB 2111 SD1, the recommendation is to pass with amendments. With 6 members present, are there any reservations or no votes?
Reservation.
So noted for Senator Ocasio. Chair, all other members vote aye. Recommendation adopted.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll gavel out of our 9:30 agenda and gavel into our 9:45 agenda. There's one item on this agenda. This is SB 2535, establishes the number of miles from the shore of a main Hawaiian island where offshore wind turbines may be sited. Recommendation here is to pass with an effective date 7/30/75. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Kaloli.
Members voting on SB 2535 SD1, the recommendation is to pass with amendments. With 6 members present, are there any reservations or no votes? Recommendation adopted.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me just double check here. Yeah, okay, so we'll, before I adjourn, we have an actual hearing at 10 o'clock.
Sorry, Chair, can I
Right.
put, make a correction?
Sure.
My apologies on my last bill. Can I have a, on SB 2535 SD1 reservations?
Yeah, I think that's fine since we're still in that agenda.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so we have a few minutes before our 10 o'clock agenda, which is an actual hearing on one bill, and then we have a 10:25 and a 10:30. And then we will need to come back and vote at 1 o'clock this afternoon for the one that we're actually having the hearing on, because it hasn't been referred to us yet technically. So anyway, we'll be adjourned for that, and we'll be back in at 10 o'clock for the Okay, everyone, welcome back to the Judiciary Committee hearing this Thursday morning. The agenda that we're on now is the 10 o'clock agenda. This is a hearing for SB 2121. SB 2121 requires environmental impact statements to consider whether the proposed action will exacerbate socioeconomic disparities. For those testifying by Zoom, we do have a 2-minute time limit. If we have technical difficulties while you're speaking, we will try to come back to you if we can solve them quickly. But if not, we have read your written testimony. And if we have major technical difficulties and the whole hearing crashes, we'll reconvene at 1:01 this afternoon via video conference. And I think we'll have time to post a public notice on that. Okay, so first up on SB 2121 is Michelle McCoy for Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Good morning.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Michelle McCoy for the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. We stand on our written testimony in strong support of this measure. This is part of our OHA package, and we acknowledge our trustee, Ahu Isa, who assisted in getting this measure on an agenda. So we really mahalo you for putting this forward on an agenda. And we want to, this measure provides a process that takes a hard look at the relative socioeconomic impacts of a proposed project. As you know, we want to ensure that the same communities that are constantly cited for various developments or projects, and that they are acknowledged, and that any of the projects that would likely exacerbate any socioeconomic divides are looked into and more focused on when a project is being put forth. So mahalo for putting this on the agenda, and we are in strong support.
Thank you very much. Next is Puanani Ona Thoeni. Sorry.
Hi, Ona on behalf of the Environmental Advisory Council. Thank you folks for giving me the opportunity to testify in this bill today. And I do want to say thank you to the OHA folks. We did have representatives reach out to us prior to introducing this bill as part of their package to get our mana'o on this. We did submit written testimony. We provided comments on this bill. We do have some concerns about the added definition to include an exacerbation of socioeconomic impacts from projects that have to go through the 343 process. Now we noted that social impacts and economic impacts are already included in that definition. Part of our concern is with how the added definition of socioeconomic disparities being measured by occupation, health, and income. Our concern is largely on how that type of information will be gathered. In our discussions with the OHA representatives prior to this bill coming out, we did ask the question, what type of studies are out there? How would you get this information? And how could, applicants and agencies going through the process reasonably gather this type of information? Studies are very expensive, especially for small projects, single family homes, parks or whatnot that have to go through the process. doing this type of study could be prohibitively expensive. So those were our concerns. We have not gotten a response on what type of studies can be done or have already been done. So, we're open to listening to that. But with that, I'll end my testimony and stand on my written testimony. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to respond to them. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Next is Ian Hirokawa for DLNR, Department of Land and Natural Resources.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Chair. I'm sorry. Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Ian Hirokawa with DLNR. Stand on our testimony in opposition, largely, I think, echoing the same issues that the Environmental Council has raised, and be available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Kevin Moore, also for Department of Land and Natural Resources.
I'm sorry, Chair. He's just backing me up. So
Okay, in opposition as well. Russell Tsuji for DLNR.
same.
Same, also in opposition. Okay, we also have Amanda Fernandez for the Hawaii Public Health Institute in support. Wayne Chung Tanaka for the Sierra Club of Hawaii in support, and Gerard Silva in opposition. That's all the testimony we have on SB 2121. Any members, any questions? I don't think I really do either. Okay, so on this one, since it has not technically been referred to us yet, we will put off decision-making till 1. Is that correct, Claire or Jesse?
Yes, Chair, that's correct.
1 o'clock this afternoon, once we get it referred to us. So we are in recess until 1 o'clock when we'll take the vote. Okay. Hey, welcome everyone to the 1 o'clock Judiciary Committee decision-making on SB 2121 that we heard earlier today. This requires environmental impact statements to consider whether the proposed action will exacerbate socioeconomic disparities. The re-referral to JDC alone was made official at session today, so we can go ahead and vote on this. Our recommendation on SB 2121 is to pass with text and a defective date of 7/30/2075. Any questions, comments, or concerns? If not, Senator Kaloli for the vote.
Members passing with amendments, Chair Rhodes.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Ocasio.
Aye.
Senator Gabbard.
Aye.
Senator Kim. One more time, Senator Kim, please.
Aye.
I have an aye for Senator Kim. Senator Lee is excused. Senator Favela is excused. Chair recommendation adopted.
Okay, thank you very much, members. That concludes our business. We're adjourned.